Yeah. Welcome back to Lockdown Universe. Welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome and taking care of yourselves. Having a fun day, and what the hell, man. Do whatever the hell you want to do because you only got one life to live and you might as well have a good time doing it. If you're going on the highway to hell, you might as well have a good time going down there, baby. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Alright, hey. Hopefully you're all going to heaven, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever you want to do. Wherever you want to go, your choice. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about the insane mind-reading capability that has been around for quite a fucking while, guys. Quite a while, and you've not even been aware of it, actually. It's been terrifying, and it's been infiltrating social media, Google. It's been infiltrating everything you can think of. And it's been around for who the hell knows how long, because the internet's been around since, what, 92, 93, something like that. So it's been around quite a while, and we've been basically been guinea pigs. So I'm going to play you this video because I think it's super important for you to listen to. There's a technology out there that they're just making public, which means that they've had it around for probably 50 years. And this technology can take your thoughts, and I'm not talking about your verbal, output. I'm talking about your actual thoughts. It puts you in an MRI machine, and it takes your thoughts, and it spits out what you're thinking exactly, word for word, or pretty damn close. You can also think about an image, and it will spit out an image. It's called an fMRI machine. fMRI machine. Now, you've heard of MRI machines. Everybody's probably, either had a friend or knows a friend that's been in one. If you have a friend that's had brain surgery like I've had, well, they've been in like 30 of them. That's not even an exaggeration. But an fMRI machine is a functional magnetic resonance imaging scanner that's used to create pictures of the brain and measure its activity. So what it does is it takes these little lit up portions of your brain and it literally puts it into like a binary computation, like zeros and ones, and then it tells exactly what you're fucking thinking, man. Think about that for a second. Think about how terrifying that is. You want to be able to think about, you don't even want to be able to think. Sometimes you just have thoughts that pop up in your mind. What happens when the thought police come to bust you just for thinking about something in the future? You might think that sounds crazy, but that's probably more true than what you want to imagine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you this little mini video here that gives us a nice explanation of it. And I think and then we'll have some time to discuss it. So this will be kind of short.
The AI chatbot, ChatGPT-1, can translate MRI imagery into text. Basically, if I'm in an MRI and if I'm thinking about a sentence or a paragraph, AI now can take that and put it on the screen. So here's the video.
Dreams are no longer safe. Can we go from the patterns of your brain when you're looking at an image to reconstructing the image? So the way this worked was they put human beings inside an fMRI machine. They had them look at images and figure out what the patterns are, like translate from image to brain patterns. And then, of course, they would hide the image. So this is a image of a giraffe that the computer has never seen. It's only looking at the fMRI data, and this is what the computer thinks the human is seeing. To do this kind of imaging uses stable diffusion, uses the thing that you use to make art. Like, what should a thing that you use to make art have anything to do with reading your brain? But of course it goes further. So in this one, they said, can they understand the inner monologue, the things you're saying to yourself in your own mind? By the way, when you dream, like your visual cortex runs in reverse, so your dreams are no longer safe. Well, we'll try this. So they had people watch a video and just narrate what was going on in the video in their mind. So there's a woman, she's hit in the back, she falls over. This is what the computer reconstructed the person thinking. See, a girl looks just like me, get hit in the back, and then she is knocked off. So our thoughts, are starting to be decoded.
So basically what we had there was some images being shown up on a screen. It was like kind of, I don't think it was a TED talk, but it was a talk in some think tank area, and they were showing images of what the people were thinking or looking at. Okay, so they give them a picture, it'd be like a giraffe, and it'd be a giraffe in like a jungle. What the image spit out, what the person was thinking while they were under the fMRI machine was almost exact. It wasn't exact as exact, of course, but it was a giraffe in a jungle. So think about this for a second, okay? This really got me thinking because it made me think about highly advanced civilizations having technology like this. I've talked about this for years and years and years about how it would be nice to have telepathy and why don't we have it yet and da 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 da. Maybe we're just not advanced enough or whatever the case is. But what if, just what if, these far advanced species like the reptilians, like the greys, like the mantids, whatever, whoever you want to think about, have developed this fMRI machine so far down that they've basically put it into like a molecule, okay? And that's not crazy to think about considering that we've got laptops and we had computers 60 years ago that filled up entire humongous warehouses and huge rooms. Okay, so if they can make an fMRI machine in the palm of their hand, then they're going to be able to tell exactly what somebody's thinking, right? We've heard of abduction stories where mantids have placed their hands onto people's heads, gathered their thoughts, and also transferred their own thoughts into the abductee. Now, if they were highly advanced, right, and they have some sort of biological capability to do that, great, that's cool. That would take thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of years to develop. Well, what if they just are so technologically advanced that they just have an fMRI machine built down into a molecule and they're just using it in their hand? Or they can use it from distance. They don't even have to touch you. I was talking about this earlier with one of my close friends, and we were talking about how the mantids, right? We saw a praying mantis when we were talking about the alien mantids, and how in an abduction scenario they'd put their hand on your head to calm you down and say, "Hey, we're not going to hurt you. We're just here to gather information." And by them placing their hand on your head, they could easily make any abductee calm down, relax. I found that particularly fascinating, but then this fMRI video came across my feed and I said, well, goddamn, what if they have something like that? It doesn't have to be the exact same technology, but it could be a similar technology. These guys travel billions of light years away to get here in an instant most times. If they figured that out, they can easily figure out thought transference. They have to be, I think you almost have to be able to figure out thought transference in order to develop enough as a species to come together enough to A, not destroy each other, but based off of race, financial issues, politics, or anything else. But then you also have to be able to come together enough to develop the technology to be highly advanced enough to travel to these other worlds. So when we look at this, we look at this technology, we have to say, okay, well, this is like part of the standard stepping stones to becoming a highly enough evolved species to travel to other planets, to other galaxies, to other star systems. And that is where I think we need to focus our energies on. We probably already have, but let's take this to a humanistic level, okay? So we already talked about it being possibly part of, some sort of alien engagement. They've already developed it and so on and so forth. But what about from a humanistic standpoint? We've already talked about social money, with social currency, with China already reviewing their population's thoughts and actions on social media and it being social currency to allow you to enter certain buildings, to access certain loans, to access certain economic upcomings. And if you don't have it, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be financially poor. You're going to be unable to engage with certain individuals and certain businesses that you need in order to become financially stable. So they're basically creating kind of like a eugenics over there. They're saying, hey, if you're not up to par socially, we're going to eugenically figure your way to get you out of here. You're not going to be part of our species. You're not going to be part of our system at all, right? You're going to be outcast. So it's basically creating eugenics. And this is something that I've been listening to other podcasts talking about with the Georgia Guidestones. They were talking about the Georgia Guidestones, basically saying eugenics was required in order for the human population to move forward. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that that's what one podcast said. So when it comes to us and them using this fMRI technology, right? This technology that can basically not block, basically open up the capability for anyone to listen in on you, to your thoughts, is possible. Now, we already know they listen or they watch what we do online, right? If you search for underwear on Google, Amazon's going to pull up underwear for you when you go into Amazon. Facebook might pull up ads for you for underwear on Facebook, so on and so forth. But a lot of people, and this is pretty common, I was looking at this before, was that a lot of people are stating that they feel that Facebook and their phone can predict what they're looking at or want in the future. I'm going to go into the comment section real quick here. Hopefully this pops up. Okay. So I'm going to pause this for a second. So I want to go into the comment section of that video because a lot of people are saying, hey, I think that the government is, or the phone companies can listen in on what I want. But they're listening into my brain, not into what I'm saying, but they're listening to my thoughts. And I thought, well, what if that's just like an algorithm, right? That's just the algorithm, popping up information based on other people who entered in similar information, and that's all that is, right? Well, I wanna take a look and I want to see what other people talk about. Okay? So let's take a look at this. So some people say, there's some commenters on here, and they're saying 10,000% already in our phones and other devices. So some people already believe that this technology, this fMRI technology, can already read your thoughts. It's not even looking at what you're searching for in the search bars, but it's actually reading your thoughts to place ads already. Some people say this is terrifying. Another person says, what are they trying to accomplish? More deep state distraction. Literally, even your thoughts aren't private anymore. And I think that's the biggest concern for most people is they want their thoughts to be private. They don't want people to be able to read their thoughts. They want people to be able to have your own thoughts to be private. I mean, who wants the government or anybody else to know what you're thinking? Because you have thoughts that you're not going to act on. You just have thoughts that pop through your mind. It's very, very fascinating because I was talking about this when I was a kid, that there's random music that'll pop up in your head and you're not even thinking about. The music just pops up and it's in there. And you're like, where the hell did that music come from? You didn't listen to that music. You didn't think about that music. It just popped into your head. And a lot of people think that it's just frequencies that are being put out by radio stations that we're picking up with metal in our fillings of our teeth. But it could also be the fact that they're just pumping in music to make you behave a certain way, or they're pumping out music to make you hear it more so that you go buy it, right? What if there's the conspiracy theory that these music companies are pumping out these frequencies that can only be heard on a subliminal basis, so that you hear them and you're singing them and da 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 da, and you want to go buy that album? I mean, albums are kind of outdated, but you can still buy music. You can still go listen to music, and then by you listening to it, it will give the artist money and give the company money, right? So one of the individuals on Chorus stated to all the people saying that this couldn't happen, It can predict your habits based on data that does not explain what I experienced. Last week in the shop, I glanced at Cadbury chocolate fingers. I don't know what that is, but I know Cadbury is the chocolate company. I stood there while debating whether or not to buy them and thought about it a lot and walked away. I didn't buy them. I didn't speak of them to anyone. I don't usually buy them, nor do I usually buy Cadbury in general at all. While I got home that night, of course, on Instagram, I had chocolate finger ads popping up, and they have a lot now. I have never had a chocolate fingers ad ever. Do not tell me it's just because they know me well. I never got chocolate ads before. I don't even buy it. I only thought about them. Please, someone explain that to me. I always have ads for things that search up that I do not already buy. Where is the logic? Something similar happened to me a few years ago. I was staring at a Benefit eyebrow pencil, and I thought to myself that I should replace it. Not long after, I was getting ads for that exact eyebrow pencil. The facts are, I never bought Benefit. It was a gift from someone months before. I never bought it, nor did I even look it up online. I lived alone. I didn't talk to anyone about Benefit. I can't come up with a solution. So here's the theory. Here's my question. Did that individual have their phone out while they were looking at the Cadbury chocolate fingers? If they did, the camera has access to looking at what you're looking at. Now, if the phone wasn't out, that's dead to rights. Them being able to read your mind. Was your phone out when you were staring at the Benefit eyebrow pencil? Could the phone have been out? Probably not. Even if you're at the store, okay? If you're at the store and you have your phone in your hand and you're looking at things, are you ever really pointing it at the item unless you're taking a picture of it? I mean, even if you're in like the checkout line and you're looking at your phone and you're looking at something in front of you, your phone would be at best at waist level, right? It's not going to be at like high level. You're not going to be holding it at the thing that you're looking at. No, you're holding your phone down. You're looking down at it. Most people do that. I've only seen like one person ever hold the phone straight up in front of their face while they're reading it. So most people have it held down towards the ground, or at least at some sort of similar angle, maybe a little bit tilted up. So the question is how the hell are these ads popping up for people? It's not like you're having dreams about them and you're speaking about them in your nightmares, or talking about it overnight. You know, how are these things popping up in our advertisements? Are they, one situation could be, you could say, oh, well, maybe it's scanning the item, but it has to have the camera to do that. The camera has to have the wide enough scope to see that, and it's not seeing it. Or it could be scanning the barcode, but the barcode's on the back, and we're still not looking at the item. Another person could say, you must have said something. This person said nothing. This person lives alone, never thought about it, and never spoke about it. Is the truth really scarier than what we're thinking? Is it already in our phones what we're thinking? Some might say, well, if that were true, then why wasn't the Secret Service able to stop the assassination on President Trump, right? If they can predict what we're thinking, why couldn't they stop that person? That's a good question. Why can't we stop every bad person from doing anything bad ever? Well, now you're talking about something like Pre-Crime in the Minority Report, Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise vehicle movie, where they had a pre-crime unit, and these three people had psychic capabilities and were able to predict where murders were going to happen, and they stopped them. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about AI over here. Talking about AI over here. I want to say I had a nightmare about AI taking over too, which is kind of crazy, but well, it's not that crazy, is it? But it's kind of interesting because now I'm doing a podcast about it today. But what do you think? Do you think your phone is giving you ads or giving you suggestions or giving you predictive text when you're texting people related to information that you haven't even spoken about or haven't even looked at with your phone or taken pictures of? Is it using algorithmic information prediction models to predict that you would eventually want this Cadbury finger at this particular time in your life based off of your previous eating patterns and discussion patterns and things that you've spoken or texted about? Is that even possible? I don't know. But all I can say is that this has happened to a lot of people. A lot of people. Another person said, right, so earlier today I had a random thought that I would like to know how to make chocolate fudge cupcakes. I never discussed it with anyone or searched anything. I never made a cupcake in my life. Then tonight on my Google News feed, I see an advert for the recipe for chocolate fudge cupcakes with a photo of a cupcake exactly like the picture I had in my mind. I'm spooked. How the hell does that happen? Now, one theory could be the red car mental experiment, where you buy a red car and you drive around and all you see is red cars, or you buy a Prius and now all of a sudden all you see are Priuses on the road. That's a real psychological effect, right? But for something like this to be exactly like the image that he had in his mind seems a little bit unlikely, especially with like a fudge cake. I mean, a fudge cupcake. I mean, I get chocolate cupcakes, but a chocolate fudge cupcake is kind of rare. Another person says all humans are connected as a single consciousness. You can look at things like unified field theory, for example. There have been studies of it. For example, monkeys on discrete islands, where one monkey picks up a trick or a technique at some point in time, the other monkeys on the island pick it up right after. This is documented. You can go read about it on your own. But that still doesn't explain the chocolate fudge cupcake or the eyebrow pencil or anything like that. It doesn't do that. But this person goes on to state that, well, we are the monkeys on the island. The question is, who is picking up the new thing first? Well, I think that it is where the content providers and moderators on Google come in. Google shows some content to a sample of people in their user base, and subsequently people all start to think about it, especially when other users of the same platform, without even realizing it's coming from other humans. I have personally experienced this on multiple times where I start thinking about a random Family Guy moment or other moment from a media clip, and then I go on to the YouTube later on that day, and boom, there it is. I don't even realize the clip has the moment that popped into my mind earlier. I just watched the clip, and the moment shows up, and it clicks. That's why it came to my mind earlier. YouTube is promoting this content to other users like me. I got it from those others. But how did they get it from the others? Are they saying that it was in their feed earlier that day? And then later on they went to YouTube, and then it was just boom there. I don't really understand what they're saying there. They go on to say, in your case, people are similar to you in terms of platform use, same demographic preferences, are pushed the same type of recommendations and content as you, but they see it first. Sometimes it's tens of thousands of people who see it first or more. Then it comes into your head as your own thoughts, but they are not your thoughts. You got the thoughts from other humans. Then shortly after, you see the content that caused the wave of consciousness to come to you in the first place. Consciousness and thought travel instantly. The internet content does not. So basically what they're saying is unified field theory. We're all part of one consciousness. And then that consciousness is displaced and transferred to all of us at the same time. This is an interesting theory. So if you're just out there, living your life, and kind of like along the same lines as the radio signal, right? As the music they push. If you're hearing it in your head and then you're all of a sudden going out and buying it, you think it's your thought, but really it was a frequency that was pushed. Well, if they're talking about the frequency of the monkeys as one monkey learning a trick and all those monkeys on the island learning the trick at the same time because that monkey learned it, well, guess what? Then we could all be like monkeys. We could all be getting the same information subconsciously, and then it appears in our feed because somebody else had been searching it, and it bases it into the algorithm. Now that would make sense, although it's not a typical thought theory, right? You have to really believe in unified field theory, one consciousness, and the fact that we can obtain information in the quantum field, all as one being. A lot of people don't want to think like that. A lot of people don't want to think that we're like a hive mind. A lot of us think that we're all just independently living creatures, and we're not all connected. But the truth is stranger than fiction, and that might actually solve the question for how they're able to give us the information. The people at Google already determined that once people start searching for certain things, other people are going to start searching for other things, and it's going to spit it out. Interesting to think about. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if this has ET applications. There's always a comments field. Leave your comment in the comment section. Love to hear what you think. Take care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves. Please go like, follow, share, subscribe, and Lockdown Universe out. Peace.